Hi everyone, today I will be reviewing Ms. Marvel Volume 3, Crushed.
After clashing with Loki at the school dance, things finally seem to be returning to normal for Kamala Khan, aka Ms. Marvel. Enter Cameron, the son of family friends and quite possibly Kamala's perfect match. The two immediately hit things off and all seems to be going perfect, until a chaperone trip out gets cut short by the appearance of an evil Inhuman. Kamala quickly learns that not all Inhumans are good and heroic like her friends in New Atalan, and finds herself drawn into the conflict between those who want to live peacefully with the rest of humanity and those who want to control it. My first reaction to Crushed was less than positive. It's not that Crushed is really that bad, but there were a few things about it that I found frustrating. The opening story involving Loki is pretty in keeping with the style of the two previous issues, and it sets up Crushed's theme of Kamala finding her first love, or at least her first crush. It's a fun but fairly forgettable yarn that does at least offer Ms. Marvel a chance to shine and highlights the pining of Kamala's friend Bruno for the teenage bendy Muslim. Some of the dialogue was pretty cringe-inducing, with references to friend-zoning, Valentine's Day being patriarchal capitalist, and a bizarre final speech from Loki that seemed to have very little to do with anything. The writing doesn't massively improve in the rest of the volume, which was probably part of the reason I didn't enjoy this one half as much. It's not as cringy as the opening story, but at times it feels a bit lazy. There's even a point where a character just repeats herself word for word in two different panels for seemingly no reason at all. The story is also pretty cliched in itself. Girl meets boy, girl expects to have nothing in common with boy, but it turns out that she has everything in common with boy, from gaming to films to, a spoiler incoming, being an Inhuman. Then seemingly perfect boy goes evil and girl kicks his evil ass. In defense of Cameron as a character, the whole idea of a schism between the Inhumans along with acting like a dark reflection of Kamala, same background, same interest, same desire to be someone else, is at least kind of interesting, and maybe giving Kamala a rival will lead to better stories down the road. The arrival of this new faction of Inhumans and their ability to simply overtake New Atalan without seemingly any struggle, at least that's seen or referred to in the comic, was kind of weird. I'm not a huge Marvel Comics buff, so maybe all of this happens in a different story and Ms. Marvel is just playing off that, but it did strike me as odd that there's no reference to it. Moving away from the negative, there are two moments in Crush that really stood out to me. The first was Kamala's guilt over badly injuring a villain she was fighting, and the second involved Kamala's brother, Amir, explaining to Bruno why he would never be able to date Kamala. The first I found far more interesting than the whole first love plotline, because it actually showed Kamala's journey as a hero by showing her remorse over the destructive potential of her powers. The second offered probably the best glimpse into Kamala's background so far, showing the more severe limitations placed upon her, not just because of being a teenage girl with protective parents, but because of her family's traditions and heritage. That's something I'd like to see explored more in future stories, because I feel like the tensions between these two worlds that Kamala inhabits are a part of what makes her so interesting. The art style in Crushed isn't entirely different to that of the first two volumes. It's bright and colourful and still captures the action and humour of its predecessors, but doesn't feel quite as unique somehow. There are considerably less hidden gags, but if you're reading it, be on the lookout for the surprise appearance of a certain Vulcan and a dead ringer for Doc Brown. While their characters might not have been all that exciting, the designs of the villains are pretty unique, with my favourite being Kaboom, whose crazy lightning hair no film or cosplay will ever do justice. But feel free to prove me wrong. The volume ends with another one-off comic, this time featuring the comic book version of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. character Gemma Simmons, who goes undercover at Kamala's school to track and intercept a weapons dealer selling the inventions of old supervillains. This I found to be much more fun, with Ms. Marvel once again earning some street cred with the rest of the Marvel Universe. In all, I'd say it took 2 reads for me to appreciate Crushed for what it offers. Its main story still feels like something that's been done to death, but at least introduces new characters and possibilities for future storylines.
So yeah, that's my review of Ms. Marvel Volume 3, Crushed. If you'd like to see my review for the previous volume, then you can find that here. And if you'd like to start from the beginning with Volume 1, No Normal, then you can find that here. Alright, thank you very much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy this video, then please give it a thumbs up or leave a comment. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to know what you thought. If you enjoyed this content and you'd like to see more of it, then feel free to subscribe to my channel. I hopefully will have a review of the next volume up very soon. Okay, and farewell.